So, Mike, one of the questions I often get when I'm in sales meetings all the time is like, well, what happens when my internet goes down?
Mm.
And the answer is always like, well, your phones go down, right? Because the phones are connected to the internet. But there are solutions that we can put in place to help mitigate some of that or altogether make it a non issue. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we have started implementing some cellular technologies, some LTE based technologies specifically
Hmm.
that basically, you know, pretty much everyone today can make their cell phone into a little hotspot,
Right,
and your laptop can tether off of that, and you can work from anywhere.
right.
Um, so we've done that kind of thing with LTE, in that we'll go into a business and we'll put in and there's several different ways to do this, but one example of, we'll put in an LTE, a modem, and it just sits there in the background, and then if and when an internet connection goes away, we can quickly transition those phones over to using that LTE device to maintain internet connectivity. um, we have a very simple implementation like that. We have some really complicated implementations where we can put an LTE in standby mode, where
Right.
the customer never really knows that their internet goes away. Well, their computers will stop working,
Hmm.
their email will stop coming in, but their phones will keep working because we have a device that will sit there and monitor the internet connection. And if the internet connection dies, it quickly switches over to LTE. The phones never know the difference.
Hmm.
Everything just keeps going on as normal.
Yeah, and that goes to show a lot of the evolution, I think, of the industry in terms of that. Because when we first started implementing this, it was a lot of switch that wire over from this modem to
Right.
that one in the closet, and some of these very
Yeah.
challenging ways of doing this sometimes. And as the technology continues to advance, we're being able to implement that in ways that people don't even notice that there's a switch over occurring.
Yeah. We're talking about it today. 5 years from now, everybody will be like, well, that's just the way we do it.
Right, right.
But yeah, the entire industry, but UpLync is, we actually are really at the forefront of that movement of trying to get people on redundant internet connections, whether it's an LTE or some other type of arrangement. And a really cool development is that we're now starting to be able to put like point of sale systems on that.
Right,
So let's say, now we don't, the limiting factor in using LTE is the bandwidth consumption,
right, right,
because Uplink still pays for every gig of data transfer that goes over our
right.
wireless network. So it's not like we could put an office full of computers on this as a backup solution, because you
Mhm.
quickly run into the hundreds of dollars for a 2 hour internet outage. That doesn't really scale.
Right,
But the phones use such a small amount of bandwidth that for phones scales great.
right.
Point of sale systems are the same way, tiny little bandwidth. So let's say you take a pizza restaurant. Okay, their online orders and their telephone orders, they live and die. If either one of those
Absolutely,
things go down,
absolutely. They're in
they're
trouble.
not making pizza.
Yeah.
They're not selling pizza. Well, now we can put both their phones and their point of sale system, where they get their online orders as well as they take walk up orders. We can put both of those on an LTE backup, so that if the primary internet connection goes down, they just keep on running their business like normal. So,
Right.
short of putting a generator out there to keep their power on, we've got their bases covered.
Right, right.